Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to tune in. I'm excited, as you can see, because this is the first time in a long time that we're going to be talking about New Orleans Saints football. They got some really good things going on down there. And if you watch these football games closely, because I watched them play the Dallas Cowboys from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, it's not hype. This football team is actually good, and we're going to talk about what's going on. We got a hot topic. Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints destroy the Dallas Cowboys, picking up a 44-19 win to move to 2-0 in the 2024 NFL regular season. So many good things that we're going to talk about in today's video. We're going to talk about how they're beating up on these opponents, but first, we got the land of the law. We got to talk numbers. Derek Carr on the day, 11 for 16, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he threw an interception late. We have to talk about him for that, but still having a very good football game. Alvin Kamara, 20 carries, 115 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But it doesn't just end there. Through the air, 2 receptions, 65 yards, and a touchdown. He caught that big screen pass. He went down the football field, took it in for a score, 57 yards on that play. And then we got 2 big-time receivers. Rashid Shaheed, he had 4 catches, 96 yards. He had a touchdown where he got behind quarters coverage. You got 2 safeties. They're not even fast enough. We're getting behind. Derek Carr laying it out there for him. 70-yard touchdown catch. And then Chris Olave having a big-time game. Didn't get into the end zone, but had 4 catches for 81 yards. We look at the flip side, and I think this is important when we talk about what the Saints are doing defensively. Dak Prescott, 27 of 39, 293 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, took 3 sacks. On the ground, Rico Dotto, their leading rusher, 7 carries, 30 yards. Then we look through the air, CeeDee Lamb. Now, Jalen Tolbert also want to shout him out because he had some big-time catches in this game, some contested catches, really some plays where you say, okay, now we can trust you a little bit if you're going to be making plays like this. So just looking at that, 6 catches for 82 yards. And then, of course, CD, he had the one big-time play where it was a highlight play, caught the football, had 2 defenders surrounding him, ducked through him, then he's running for a touchdown. That was a 65-yard touchdown that he had, but overall, 4 receptions, 90 yards. Now, when we talk about this Saints offense, Rashid Shaheed, like I said, he started out early, got behind quarters coverage, Derek Carr getting it out there to him. And I think when looking at Derek Carr, he started the game off beautifully. And what allows him to be so efficient this game, and I want to shout out Clint Kubiak because he's a part of this, the new offensive coordinator on the block. How long will he stay with this team? Because you got Dennis Allen as the head coach. He's a defensive mind. But then you look at Clint Kubiak, he's really a big part of what this team is doing right now. And you know, teams are going to be chomping at the bit, trying to get that new offensive mind. But looking at this, though, I think a big reason for Derek Carr's success was the play action. You see the balance with this football team. They had 243 passing yards, but 190 rushing yards. And now it's saying we're the dictator. Dallas Cowboys, they couldn't stop the pass. They couldn't stop the rush. So what does this allow us to do? Now, we really take your linebackers out of the play because once we get this run game flowing and then we get the play action flowing, now we got your linebackers biting up. Now your safeties are a little more aggressive. And that's really how you start to see guys getting behind defenses, how you're starting to see guys run wide open because we're expecting run. We know we can't stop run, so we're overcompensating, trying to stop the run. And I think when looking at this run game, it was balanced, and this is a test to Clint Kubiak, how he utilizes these guys, how he kind of weaponizes his offensive linemen. You see Talise Fuanga, you see Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz. You see, okay, now we go to the right side, Trevor Penning. What are we doing? And it's attacking the interior. We're getting between the tackles. Let's let Alvin Kamara get some aggressive carries. Let's let Jamal Williams get a few carries, wear down the defense some. But how they really won this football game in the run game, it was the perimeter. And I think for the Dallas Cowboys, when I say overcompensating, now when we look at what they're doing, as far as their defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer, how he's utilizing his linebackers in his fronts and how he's mixing and matching things, now we're changing our front to try to stop the interior runs between the tackles. Then we got Alvin Kamara. We got these offensive linemen who are athletes. They're getting out on the perimeter because we got these different types of fronts. Now we can wash you down inside. And even if we got Micah Parsons, he's lined up in a 7, he's lined up in a wide 9, he's going to run himself out of the play. So now, okay, that opens things up in the B gap, in the C gap. And all we got to do is get up to that play side linebacker. And how many times did you see Alvin Kamara, he's a runner. Well, he doesn't even look like he's running. I mean, he's running the football, but it looks like he's just jogging. It was one play where he scored, and it's like he's walking into the end zone. Actually, one of his first touchdowns, it was a run to the perimeter, and nobody touched him. It was about a 15-yard carry. So just having things like that. Now, Clint Kubiak understanding how to get Derek Carr going. A lot of it is play action, getting these athletes. Chris Olave getting that speed into the second level. Now we're getting into these dig routes. Now we're getting into the sevens and the posts. We're utilizing him like that. And then Rashid Shaheed, he's going to take the top off of the defense. Now, one thing I would like to see is who's going to come along to the party. You have Cedric Wilson on this roster. You got Foster Moreau at the tight end position. Who's going to be that guy that steps up along with these guys to now say, okay, I'm that third receiver? And it might even just be Taysom Hill, because let's talk about Taysom Hill. You can't key if you're Mike Zimmer, if you're any defensive coordinator playing this football team. You can't really key, because if I'm saying, okay, Taysom Hill, he's in the backfield on this play, I don't know if it's 35% run. I don't know if it's 50% run, because they use him in the backfield, and sometimes he may even throw the ball. He may be on a sweep, or he may be a lead blocker for a jet sweep. So it's just different things like that where we mix and match and say, okay, now we can use Taysom Hill without teams knowing this is the package we're trying to run. And I go to the Detroit Lions with Ben Johnson, because I just think when you mix and match David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, I think now it's becoming to the point where Gibbs is developing. He can run between the tackles. When he comes into the football game, it's not just pass. He's a runner as well. When David Montgomery comes into the game, it's not just run. He can catch the football as well. So having versatile guys in your lineup that you can't key off on if you're a defensive coordinator, that's a test to Clint Kubiak and how he's using Taysom Hill. Now, I got to go to the defensive side of the ball, because, man, I think for the longest time, this has been a solid defense, but boy, if they haven't gotten better. You talk about Pete Warner, Demario Davis. He's 35. He's still playing good football as a middle linebacker, and they just added a Super Bowl linebacker in Willie Gay, so he's now there. If they want to run a base formation, have three traditional off-ball linebackers in the football game. Then we talk about those corners. Marshawn Lattimore did not play in this football game, and you probably would have never guessed it. Kool-Aid McKinstry stepping up, and you can always find him because he has on that green chin strap. You just find him going around. He's a big time guy there in the secondary for this team. He was their second round pick, and then I think with him stepping up, now Alontae Taylor, Paulson Adebo, Tyrann Mathieu, everybody's flying around in this secondary. And then when you bring back Marshawn Lattimore, man, you talk about those nickel packages, those dime packages. It's a lot of versatility in the back end for this football team. And I think that's a part in where they stopped the run early. And like I say, when you can go base with Willie Gay, Demario Davis, and Pete Warner, then you still have your guys up front. Cam Jordan, he's a solid run defender. Nathan Shepard, Christian Boyd, Brian Brzee, who you drafted 2 years ago. Then Carl Grandison, he had a sack in this football game. He was constantly getting after the quarterback, really giving Terrence Steele of the Dallas Cowboys some problems in this football game. But when you're doing things like that, you still got Chase Young, who's an athletic freak. Now, early downs, take the run out of the equation. And then when you think for the Dallas Cowboys, they're still trying to find their identity on the ground, because they brought back Zeke. They kind of want that aggressive downhill guy. They got Rico Dottle. I think right now he's looking like their best runner. And then you look kind of outside of that, they're still trying to find their rhythm on the ground with Mike McCarthy in that run game. So the New Orleans Saints, they stymied that. And then now, in the secondary, they were playing so aggressive. You saw the big time hits. You saw Paulson Adebo. You saw Alontae Taylor. These guys are aggressive. And I'm saying that, and I'm speaking with such passion, because when you watch this football team, I'm like, man, this is the Saints? That's really where I'm at with this. I was not expecting this. And I think when we talk about the NFC South, a lot of people said, okay, it's the Falcons and it's not even a question. But you see what Tampa Bay just did over there when they picked up a big-time win versus the Detroit Lions. You see what the New Orleans Saints are looking like right now. The Carolina Panthers, we're going to push that to the side. But we look at that. The Atlanta Falcons, they play tonight. But while you're watching this video, they'll be on Monday Night Football. But just right now, man, I'm looking at this team and Tyrann Mathieu being the leader that he is. He picked off Dak Prescott in this game. So overall, when you look at it and say this is a complete football team, now I want to see consistency. That's my only challenge right now. They're playing at a high level. I cannot look at this team right now and be the guy who says, okay, I don't trust it. Because when I watch the film, I'm a film guy. So if I see something, I want to see the film. Does this correlate to the numbers? Does this correlate to you outscoring your opponents over 70 points? They're outscoring their opponents in their first two games over 70 points. So now the question is, can Derek Carr keep it up? Can Alvin Kamara sustain this on the ground? And I think they have some depth at the running back position. So even with that, yeah, you can bring Jamal Williams in. He can give him a spell. You have some other backs there who can really give Alvin Kamara a spell. So now it's really saying defensively. I think for the past few years, this has been a solid defense, but the offense hasn't come along to the party. Now everybody's tanking on this football team, and I want to know what you, the viewer, think down below in the comments. I like what I'm seeing out of New Orleans right now, and I want to know, do you think they can keep this up? That's what I'm looking at now. I'm saying this is a good football team. I'm declaring that right now, but we're going to revisit this in a few weeks. They got a big time matchup next week. I believe they play the Philadelphia Eagles. Actually, let's double check that right now. Looking at who they play next week before we get out of here. Yeah, week 3, Philadelphia Eagles, 1 o'clock on Sunday. So we're going to be back and we're going to talk about this Saints football team. But that's going to do it for today. And now, actually, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 11,000. But now, we're out.